And welcome back. We're picking up where we left off last time in the Long Dark, where we're going to be continuing our trip out to the far territories, assuming nothing gets in the way. Such as bad weather. Bad weather is semi-common in this game, especially on Interloper. Or if again, let's get Birch Park ready. Probably should have done that before I went to sleep, but too late. Sounds like the weather has gone a bit squirrely as we're sitting here. There's a pair of crampons that need repairs. At some point I need to go find some scrap metal to do repairs with. How much does pickles weigh? We'll take a thing of pickles with us. Oh yeah, it is cold. But we're basically full on all the meters, so we're going to try to push through. There is the derailment with Poacher's Camp in it in the middle of the muskeg. That's probably where we'll stop. Hopefully the weather improves while we're there. Though we did take the short distance, we'll pop in the cave here just for a smidge, just to get up to full warmth. There isn't any convenient caves between here and the caboose, so, or not the caboose, the boxcar. So we're gonna get cold. We're probably gonna take some damage on the way there. Yeah, assuming the weather plays roughly along, we should get there pretty easily. If I'm just taking the short distance across the muskeg, it shouldn't be that hard to look at the second portion after we warm up. The pickles we're taking with us aren't necessarily a very good source of calories. We're mainly taking them with us because they're a source of vitamin C. Though in practice, it's probably better just to take the flour and oil that we've got with us to make rosehip pie, because rosehips are pretty abundant across the island.
Can't feel my hands.
Yeah, we haven't even left Mystery Lake yet. We're running out of warmth. Let's snake one of these ruined torches. That's why I have something to disassemble into a stick after we use our one stick starting the next fire. We'll go a little bit slower because of it, but it shouldn't make a big difference. The wind is at least going with us at the moment, so that's a good thing. And yeah, we're going to take 20% damage per in-game hour while we're cold. Not too worried about basically losing the bonus hit points from well-fed. Honestly, I'm not too worried about taking, like, the next 10 after that as well. Just want to still stay well above 50%. And honestly, up in the 80s and 90s until we get out to the far territories. Because going around the new zone I'm not used to is going to be more of a risk. For the far territories, the first time I went out there, I didn't... Well, when I watched one of the other YouTubers go out to the airfield, but pretty much hadn't spoiled the zone. Other than half paying attention to someone else going out there. Zone of contamination. Other than the time we went there, and by go there, I think we like left the transition cave from first second airfield, entered the cave, entered the zone, and then turned around and went back. I have not been out there, so I know nothing about the map. So as a side effect, I don't know what I'm getting myself into when I get there. So I do want to arrive mostly with surplus equipment, surplus fuel, surplus health. So if worst comes to worst, we can have something go wrong and still hopefully be fine. I know the canisters are involved in one of the mechanics from the area, and that there's like pools of acid or whatever that you can step into that quickly degrade your footwear. Which is why I was taking the detours to check for the boots. I think I probably left them in Pleasant Valley, which we're not going to take that much of a detour for, but... I remember we were wearing them until they got like 1% condition, and then I checked to see if I could repair them, and I couldn't. So I decided it'd be a good idea to swap back to the deerskin boots. Okay, so this is where I plan to get to warm up. Let's start the fire barrel. And we're at -11, so I need to put at least one piece of coal in the fire. One piece of coal is probably enough. Okay. Eating some of the gourmet porridge. That'll give us a warming up bonus. Let's go ahead and make one more batch of porridge up. I don't know if I'm going to be able to eat this full batch. Let's see. I don't think we did. Let's go ahead and make another liter of water. And then we'll head out.
Something's gotta go.
And of course, if the weather holds, we'll take the lit torch with us. Okay, let's disassemble everything below 40%. We'll take the last couple with us. We'll see how that goes. And again, this is sort of doing a little bit of prestidigitation. We're turning coal into sticks here. Okay, this torch isn't going to last for very long, but we'll just swap to the next torch. Save a little bit of weight that way. And okay, the weather is nice and clear, so at least we won't be slowed down by the wind in our face taking the trip across the Muskeg. It's a little cold, but with at least no wind, if we need to, we can stop to start a fire.
Goodness. Made it through another night.
So my understanding where we're going, which is the mine, is if we follow the railroad tracks to the bridge, cross the bridge, follow the railroad tracks, so on and so on and so on, eventually we'll get there. There's a couple times where we have to take detours off the railroad tracks just to keep going. But you just come back to the railroad tracks and you keep going that way. So next stop is going to be the maintenance shed. That might not be the end of the episode. We're making pretty good time, so I could imagine that we keep going even once we get to the railroad tracks. Or get to the maintenance shed. But we'll do a little bit of inventory triage when we get there. Probably leave some pickles behind. I'll leave one of the pickles behind. And trade for something a little bit more, like, mass efficient or something. Okay, we're getting some side wind. Oh, now it's come from behind. Not so bad to take the torch yet. So, it kind of looks like the torch might be flickering, so I don't know if the torch is going to be long for this world.
Cold is making my head feel thick.
Looks like we're probably in about 10 degrees wind chill. See if it gets any worse. Board still warm?
Cold.
No.
Just want to lay down for a bit.
If it was warm, we could have got a little bit of a warming up bonus there to buy us a little more time before we took damage. There's the torch. That's a bit of the cart. Looked very gun-shaped. I was wondering if it was a glitch spawning a gun in, but no, it wasn't. Just a bit of the cart. You know, given the circumstances, let's do a little bit of sprinting here to save some condition. No good places really to warm up until we get to the shed. Plenty of places that if we were desperate we could sort of hunker down to warm up with a piece of coal, but no good places. This is a lot of bad places that would work, but no good places.
This pack is getting kind of heavy.
Making progress. We do have the rock slide in a moment. There's a way to shimmy up and over it, which we'll use. You're definitely supposed to be able to take it one way. This is the direction you're maybe not supposed to take it. The second time they had a rock slide like this on this railroad, they did it a little harder on the second one. So the second one you definitely can't take in this direction, but take the other way. This one's got a little bit of a billy goat path up that you can take up and over. So there's the rock slide. There's the bit where you're supposed to be able to billy goat down, but if you know what you're doing, you can billy goat up it as well. Which is what we're about to do. And there we go. Up and over. The Broken Railroad area isn't super big. So you know where everything is, and you can travel from place to place pretty quickly. It does have a bear. The bear... Well, the bear may have respawned since we killed it last. We killed it the last outbound path we took. So one of the plans is eat some of that bear meat on the way out. That's why I'm not too worried about burning a lot of calories sprinting here. I'm actually more worried about the fatigue than I am about the calories. But with the amount of condition damage we're taking, turning the fatigue into recovery is not a bad idea either. There'd be a wolf there. Did it see us? Not yet. Don't think I'm gonna be able to sneak past it. Well, that's one way to get past the wolf. I think it's too windy for us to start a fire here. Yeah. Can I get a little bit of wind shelter to warm up in at least? Yeah, it'll work. I'm engaging what I refer to as the waste not, want not protocol. We killed a wolf, so we're going to turn it into usable goods. So as not to waste the goods.
Fire's life out here.
Yeah, that should get it warm enough. Let's make a thing of porridge. We'll eat the thing of porridge. We'll revisit the temperature situation once that's done. Okay, how close to the wolf can I get without freezing my... Yeah, 3 echelons down, so there's a little bit too much wind right now. Let's make another thing of porridge up, warm for a little bit more. Again, I don't think we ate that full thing of porridge, but this is a start. Okay, we're gonna get cold as we harvest this wolf, but I think we can get these 2 kilograms off without getting completely frozen. Yeah, that warming up bonus is playing a big part there.
I'm gonna have to leave something behind.
Then we can get those cooking. Okay, I'm gonna take the gamble of getting the rest of the meat off. We didn't get too cold during that last attempt. And we do have the nice warm fire there to go warm up next to again. Quickly scarf down the last of the porridge. It's not taking space in the inventory. Hydrate the character. To do what I want to do here, we probably do need more fuel in this fire. So we're going to chuck another piece of coal in. Okay, we're just going to bite the bullet, take the hide off. And then we'll try warming up again. Hopefully we don't take any real damage here. Oop, I'm wrong, we're taking some damage.
Wait. I'm so cold, I'm warming up again.
Oh, of course. Of course it does. The wind changed and got our fire. 12 minutes? I can probably nurse this fire out long enough to get it to go 12 minutes. The guts aren't worth it. Only the guts behind. Or the wind can go away. Okay. Let's toss another stick in this fire. It'll be fine. Come over here. Barely cold, yeah. And then we should still have enough of that campfire to either pull a torch from it or at least stick a torch in it and light it up for escort purposes. To get down to the camp off, or to get down to the maintenance shed. Yeah, okay, not enough left in it to pull the torch out, but we got plenty of torches in the inventory, so we just stick one in the fire and we'll call it good. Eat some meat. To be fair, the meat pile will be here when we get back, so grab some on the way back as well. This is good weather. Bit of a shame, because I do kind of want to have the character sleep. Because of his low fatigue, but I think we'll probably try to push through. Okay, we're gonna drop in here, we're gonna drop off the hide and the guts. Check up on our inventory, figure out if there's anything we want to bring with us. Okay, so gut, and the hide. It's a lighter. And then we can leave the pickles behind. This is close enough to where we're going. Now we can always come back here with the pickles if we want the pickles. And then we'll swap those out. We'll leave the newer, higher quality ones behind to get us back down to weight. Okay, I think that's arguably the plan. Grab that, grab that. We're back to full warmth. Outside is some meat. We needed it, but we don't, because we can stop by the wolf pile on the way back out. So really the only thing we're missing is the fatigue, but I think that'll be fine. Yep, let's get on our way. If the weather holds, making us get good time, we'll probably get all the way out to the abandoned depot and transfer pass. Or not transfer, the abandoned depot on the Far Territories connector. The little train depot. And that's probably where we'll put the part brake in. That's the next sensible place to put one. Other than the wind, it's been great weather. Though that long patch of wind there did definitely do a bunch of damage. Which is one of the reasons I'm not stopping to recover the fatigue, because the longer we go with low... Well, the lower we get the fatigue before we take the long rest, the more hit points, or the more condition we'll get back. Yeah, I'm not gonna stop for the meat. Got enough condition, enough calories as is. We've got a mental note on our next objective. Let's get going. Wolf in our path by the noise. We got a lit torch, so it shouldn't be a problem. Wolf has detected us. Inform the wolf that we are in fact armed. We're a little bit like, I've probably brought this comment up once before, we're a little bit like Jack Sparrow from Pirates of the Caribbean 1, where he's got one round left in his pistol. We have one round in the flare gun. So that's why it shows no ammo, is because the flare gun is loaded. That is our one and only flare gun round. If I went exploring, I think we're pretty sure we found more flare gun ammo. I just coincidentally only had one round when I found the flare gun that we're currently carrying. Otherwise, every other time was either we found a flare gun or we found a round. Is that in front of us or behind us? In front of us. That's unusual. Apparently don't see one over here. Well, we're about to go through a loading screen, which will lose him permanently, so we don't need to worry about that one too much. Leaving the broken railroad. Far range branch line. Yeah, next farm break I think is going to be at the cabin, or no, the abandoned depot. We're making decent time. I see us getting there in the next 10 minutes. Assuming the weather doesn't go completely screwy. Well, depending on how the weather goes completely screwy, that might actually make us go faster. If we get like a tailwind blizzard, we'll go faster. Because I'll be sprinting. Sprinting without a torch. Yeah, right now we're just making good time. There's no wind in this section, so really easy to keep going. I suppose while we're out here we don't have... Well, I don't know where the radio sets are. There's usually like one radio set in an area. I don't think the transfer areas have any, so I don't think there is one in here. I'm not sure if there's any in any of the places outside of the airfield out here in the far territories. So I don't know how we would set up the next trade with the trader. So there's two ways to go through the area we're about to go through. One is you can go across the bridge and shimmy down the rope. We're going to do the other way, the way we haven't actually done before, which is there's a bit of a rock area here you can... well, there's a staircase down here, and there's a bit of rock area you can really go down. And then you can walk across the area. You're more likely to run into wolves this way, but we got a torch, so that's less of an issue. I don't think you can climb this ladder. The way I think you're meant to really go down is the side, so down the rope, or down the log here. There's a little bit of a climb there, which we're going to skip, just by skipping it down like this, and another one there that we're going to skip just by skipping down like this. But you can climb back up that fairly easily. I don't think this is thin ice. And down here, there's occasionally walls. More common, I think, on Stalker than Interloper. Interloper, especially after the wildlife refresh, there's not blaze wolves down here. And then the cave we want is over the other end here. Back in and through that cave. We'll grab a little bit of coal as we go. I suspect there will be a little bit in the cave. Do I have any sticks? I don't. Grab one stick. You need something that is not coal to start a fire, and you can always tuck the coal in afterwards in the current game state. It used to be that you had to get the campfire to a particular temperature where you throw coal in it. But arguably that made coal a little underpowered, because unless you were really starting to try to start up a forge process, it was always meaning you're always over temp the fire. Granted, I don't think I ever played in that patch. So people from that patch can probably better inform you whether or not it was overpowered or underpowered. But at some point they changed it so that you can use coal whenever. You just can't start a fire with coal. Which, assuming you have some way to break the coal up, is pretty believable. Coal is hard to start, but it's not that hard to start. Oh, maybe a single stick is a little underkill, but I don't think you can necessarily burn a single stick in real life for 10 minutes, so these are some pretty hefty sticks. Okay, I think it is time to do a torch swap. So we drop the torch, pull out the next one. Running out of the sub 50% torches. And we're making decent progress. Maybe not going quite as fast as I would have liked to get to where we're going before 40 minutes in the episode, but... Well, I'm also kind of stretch goaling, I suppose. The goal was to get to the maintenance shed, and we got there, and then kept going. So I suppose if I run the episode long, that was the mistake. But that would have been too short, that would have been less than 30 minutes. So we're going for a little bit farther. Yeah, I hope everyone has been enjoying. Watching on Twitch, when I do put the part break in, I'm going to take a short break to make a new cup of tea, because I think the half a cup of tea I have in front of me and its current temperature is going to very rapidly disappear during the break, and then I'm going to want another one. So it will be basically the mid-stream interlude, I suppose. The play that is the stream is 4 acts today, unless I really feel like going when we hit the end of the 4th one. Honestly, I'm expecting the 4th and 5th part to be a bit longer than the first 2 parts, because I'm more likely to get in a place where I don't know a good place to stop. So the part goes long. But yeah, making good progress. I think we ran into wolves the last time we were near this bridge. No, it was the other side. We kind of had to sneak past them. Crossing the Steely Chasm. Cave over there that you can warm up in. It's warm enough we're not going to take the detour. Focus on getting through Lickety Split. Back to the attention of the local wolves. Oh no, the local rabbits have attracted the attention of the local wolves. I suppose that means we could steal a rabbit from a wolf, but we're not going to. There's not enough calories on the rabbit to warrant the delay. I am a man on a mission. May not be an important mission, but it is a mission. Yeah, I think we got a couple of snow shed tunnels here. And then we'll be at the abandoned depot. Right Hoppers Rockfall. On the railroad again. One of these days I'm gonna have to find a good railroad game to stream. Railroad Tycoon, I think it's 3 is a real nice game, but it doesn't. The visuals haven't necessarily held up that well. It doesn't quite have the variety of scenarios I would like. Unrelated, kind of just filling up the void and, well, railroad related. We're walking along the railroad here. I don't know if there's respawning coal in here. Could imagine there being some, but could also imagine there not. Definitely making decent time here, because the weather is holding out. As long as the weather holds, we can make decent time. So when we get bad weather that we have to keep decking into places to warm up. Which, for at least the trip we're taking, is a good fact that it isn't, because there's not a lot of places necessarily right now to warm up.
Something's making me feel tired.
And that would be called being tired. Been there before. It's bad. Don't miss flights. I missed a flight once and ended up flying standby to get to a conference. And because I missed the first flight, the standby flight ended up putting me on standby for the next flight. And I think I got standbyed like... well, because I was on standby, I ended up not being able to get on the next one or the next one. Because it was a flight with an overlay, so I got from A to B, but got stuck at B for like 2 or 3 flights. And then I think the communication was like, okay, well the quickest way to get you to where you want to go is to fly you to a different airport. So instead of going from A to B to C, I went from A to B to D to C. So it was more than 24 hours, basically staying in various forms of planes and or airport. Was a long day. So him being like, something's making me feel tired, it's like, yeah, no, it's called being tired. I've been there. Totally understand. Nothing makes you tired. Nothing makes you tired like being actual tired. I think when we get where we're going, before I put the characters down to sleep, we will probably want to make some food. Because the character is a little hungry. And sleeping for 10 hours is going to make him extra hungry.
Damn, I'm freezing.
And we do have a torch, so it is a good idea. Actually, that can be something we do along the way. we can stop for a moment and make both torches and some food.
Come on, come on.
One lump of coal in the fire, put the torch out. For what we're doing, we're going to want to still make some water with the skillet. And with the pot, we make porridge. Do you have enough time? No. So I could probably put another half-a-liter water on. Yeah, let's put another half-liter water on. Make one more batch of porridge up to get the character nice and fed. And then we'll take the rest of the campfire with us as torches. And off we go. This is apparently going to be a little bit of a long episode, so we're at 47 minutes. We're making decent time, so I think we'll be at our destination. We're going to end the episode in the next couple minutes. Just across the little swamp here. And then we're not going up to the airfield today, we're going to the mine. Which, well, that'll be after at the tea break, which should just be following the railroad tracks. Oh, see the destination. Walking a bit slow, so it's probably going to be like a minute to get there, but we're almost there. And then our character will sleep for 10 hours. And we'll still probably have, at this point, probably still another hour or two that I can sleep after that, but we'll see what the weather condition is like. Maybe we'll take it, or maybe we won't. It shows at this point I don't need the torch, because I don't need it to... Probably don't need it for safety for the last little approach to the building, but as far as I know, there's no wolves in this area. Oh, I may be wrong. Yeah, it's nice weather. If we weren't completely fatigued, we'd probably want to keep exploring, but it is the character's nap time. Well, I hope everyone has been enjoying. Even though the stories for, well, the commentary for this part have not necessarily been the most topical to the Long Dark.
Sun's setting.
Hope the
It's gonna get a lot colder soon.
chats we've been going through, at least in this part, have been interesting. Quick glance around to make sure I'm not leaving anything. Ah, we got a radio set here. So if we get an aurora, which we're going to take a long rest, so we're probably not going to see it if there is. We could, in theory, chat Sutherland up on the radio. But yeah, hope you've all been enjoying. If you're watching on YouTube, we will have another part up for you tomorrow. If you're watching on Twitch, I hope you've been enjoying. Feel free to hang around. I'm going to take a short break to go make a cup of tea to replace the one that's about to disappear. So if you're only just tuning in, feel free to rewind and watch the hour and a half or so that we've just finished recording. Otherwise, I'll be back to record another 2 parts after collecting that cup of tea. So until then, wish you all the best of luck and a good time until the next part. And bye for now.